you just enrolled. Wow.
Look at Vince's boots. Oh, you got your food. Okay. Well, do you have anybody else in training? You just have Mason?
Phil, Gabby's question right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna touch.
Did you get some good information on that sales copy yesterday, Marissa?
I did.
Good.
I did.
Good.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I'm doing the same thing for training today, just like less advanced.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
really basic. It's like the most important part. We need to do it a bunch. It's basically what Greer emailed. Tell me about. Hey, what's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Hey, what up? Yeah.
All right, perfect. Okay.
How you doing, Drew?
I'm good. How are you, Kwame?
Good afternoon, Drew.
What's up, Kwame? Let's make sure that this goes to the right place. Good there. Okay. Get full screen. Just got a couple people in person here. I think we're good. Marker. Good.
Way better than what we thought.
You can see yourself on the screen too.
Hey, why is it so cold in here?
It's always cold in this room here for some reason.
You see him in there? The dude with like green coat with the red hair?
Yeah. Alex. We're gonna give. I think there's one or two more people trying to hop on too. So. No, you're okay. This Wi-Fi is just crazy.
You know what?
What's going on with the Wi-Fi? All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Just bear with the connection issues. Hopefully it doesn't back out too bad. But all right, so today in training class, we're gonna basically continue the same process. Started from Josh, going over term life and whole life, right? How to explain that. Then going into what Tommy went over with you guys yesterday, which should have been like building the need, right? And rebuttals, proactively beating those rebuttals, right? So the next step in the process, in the sales process, is getting them to sell themselves, right? Showing them the need wherever the situation is, okay? Every presentation involves some form of either the list of concerns or the 4 main areas where people use life insurance, right? You guys have the pie chart, you do it on paper. There's one on the computer for the PowerPoint as well. So it's the same process. They're the same exact thing, right? This is definitely the most important part in the presentation, right? Because what we're doing is we're breaking down their needs and showing them visually where they have gaps at, okay? So I want you to take down like 3 spots. So in every single house, you're gonna basically do 3 things, okay? You're gonna, number 1, identify the need. Number 2, paint the picture. And then number 3, provide them a solution. Okay, so number 1, identify the need. Number 2, paint the picture. And number 3, provide the solution. Everything that you did this week earlier, identifying the need, that was what Josh and Tommy went over, okay? So we're on step 2 of this process, painting the picture for them, showing them this is real, right? So the best way to do this is, like I said, to get them to buy themselves, right? Now, the list of concerns is something that's very important to our company. It's very important to who we are, because I don't know if you guys know, the list of concerns, it was developed by our board of directors, right? So the Union Labor Advisory Board, that's who came up with the list of concerns for us. So the Labor Advisory Board is made up of 50+ union presidents, right? Each of those presidents gets a say in what goes on for their union. So what's best for their members, right? They're not going to choose a program or a plan that's not good for their members, right? Because you've got to remember, how did that union president get there? He didn't just take the position, right? He was voted in. If he wants to stay in that position, right, he's going to do things that are good for his people, right? So the list of concerns, if you look at it in the script, there's 6 of them, right? The first concern is permanent and portable benefits. It's something we should go over with them in the first paragraph, letting them know that, hey, you have great benefits through work and all, but the concern is once you quit, fire, retire, what happens to those benefits? They go away, right? So right there, our benefits are permanent and portable to that member. They're not with the union. If they quit, fire, retire, it doesn't matter. They still keep those benefits. As long as they're paying for the benefits, they keep them, right? Of course, if they lapse their policy, then they don't have them anymore. But the good news is once they're involved as a member, they don't really have to be in a union anymore. They can leave the union if they wanted to and still keep the same benefits. It's cool, right? It's why we're designed as a company. So number one, there's already like an inherent need for it. They understand why they need it. It's permanent. It was one of the biggest concerns for the unions, is having permanent benefits, because unions go through contract negotiations. Jobs go through contract negotiations. Your benefits might be great 1 year, 3 years down the road, you don't even have them anymore. I've seen it, guys. I've seen it happen with American Income. I've seen it happen with different unions. They lose their group benefits, right? They lose their overtime wage. They lose a lot of different things. There's stuff negotiated every single year, right? So our job is to make sure they have permanent ones that don't go up, down. They stay at the level for them, right? Now, the next 4 are going to be on this pie chart because we can visually represent them, right? So the next concern, the second concern a lot of families have, or union members have, is final expenses, FE, right? Now, I want you guys to shy away from saying funeral, because the cost for the final expenses don't stop at the funeral home, right? Their cost to clean up the house afterwards, there's cost to sell things, right? It takes time to do that stuff. The wake, everything after the funeral costs money too. So when you're going over final expenses with them, you want to, especially when you're in this whole pie chart, guys, you want to ask them good questions. You want to ask questions that are going to sell. So you want to ask them, Mary and Joe, you know how much a funeral costs nowadays? Right? And they'll probably say something like 10 to 15,000 bucks, usually in that range. Right? Now, if they say something outrageous like 30, 40,000, you're going to say, yeah, not right now, but definitely down the road. It's projecting to look that way. But most people are going to say, yeah, probably like 10 to 20,000, right? And they're right about that. That's how much a funeral costs nowadays. And the nationwide average for funerals is $10,000 to $15,000 today. It's a lot of money. Not a lot of people have that laying around in their bank account. And if they did, I could promise you it's not for a funeral. They were trying to buy a car or pay off the house early or do something, save money for their kids to go to school. That money's not for a funeral. So what do I like to do with our members, especially when you're explaining this to them? Project backwards and forwards, right? So final expenses, Joe, Mary, yeah, you're right, about $10,000 to $15,000 nowadays, right? But you could probably remember, getting gas in the 80s and 90s, right? Like keep playing with their age. Like if they're in their 40s, they remember getting gas in the 90s, right? They're older, they remember getting gas in the 80s and 90s. Gas was $1 a gallon. Man, 50 cents if you want it back far enough, right? Now it's like $3. It's a triple over 20 years, right? Everything with inflation doubles every 20 years. And inflation is like 3.4 something percent a year, right? So every 20 years, prices are doubling. So back 20 years ago, we were probably looking at like, I don't know, 5,000 to 7,000 for a funeral, which means 20 years down the road, we're looking at 20 to 30 for a funeral, right? Now, if they're in our age bracket, project out more, 40 to 60,000, right? show them what it's going to be down the road, you know? And then at that point, you can kind of circle. So you can say, you know, guys, it's going to be anywhere from, you know, $30,000 to $40,000 for your funeral down the road. Right? And this is actually the only area our company suggests use whole life insurance to protect. Because that's a when, not an if. Right? That's the only when on there. Right? You want to make sure you have something set aside when that happens. Now, a good way to make sure that you would describe the final expenses is the freedom of choice certificate. Right? That's directly designed to protect the final expenses. Right? So that final expense video that plays on eApp, that's a great video to play them. Like, until you're able to describe the freedom of choice certificate, like word for word, like Tommy does on you know, the web page we have, right? Then I would just play the video. It does a great job of presenting it to them, right? But final expenses, that freedom of choice certificate has to be big. It's one of the best things that we have. It's the best thing about our company is how simple and easy we make it for our members to make a claim. All right. So I want you guys to draw this out with them. Right. Even if you're virtual, you can still draw on the screen. You can annotate the screen through Zoom. Right. I don't know if you have the like I have a Microsoft Surface and has a little pen attached to it. It just draws on the screen pretty easy. But you can use your mouse to annotate, right? The PowerPoint that we have, though, it also pops that up, right? It pops up the numbers, you know, 7 to 15,000, and then it says it's going to double 20 years down the road, right? The main thing you want to let them know that it might cost this now, but probably when they're going to use it, it's going to be this, right? Now, you guys have any questions about explaining the final expense? If you just keep it super simple like that, show them what it's going to recommend, right? Then you can kind of move on to that next part, right? So that's the second concern, is protecting their final expenses, right? Correct. Especially now, yeah, you can project out that far typically, right? I think for women, it's about 83, men, it's about 80. Something like a 3-year gap. Women live longer for some reason. Maybe if they do less dumb things, I don't know. but yes, that you could definitely let them know. That's a good place to put it. Life expectancies by about age. You can even ask them. Good question to ask them. You have longevity in your family? You guys have anybody in your family that lived past 80 years old? They're like, yeah. Well, then you got some longevity. We want to make sure we project out a little bit more for you, right? So that's what they're going to need, right? So, do you guys, anybody virtually got questions on final expenses, anything? Good with the second concern?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So the third
good.
concern that they have set up basically, and they want us to take care of, is income protection. IP. Right? Making sure that if either one of the members, either one of the spouse or the husband, don't come home tomorrow, at least their paycheck comes in the house every single month. They're able to pay the bills. They're able to still live the same lifestyle, right? What this is really going to do for them, it's going to give them time. It's going to give them time to figure things out, right? Joe's never going to come back. That $200,000 is never going to bring Joe back. But what it's going to do, it's going to give his family time to adjust to that loss. If there's no money for income protection, if the bills aren't being paid, there's no time to adjust. Things have to go very rapidly, and people make crazy, rash decisions during that time. This gives them time to figure it out, right? And also make sure that they don't have to change their lifestyle, right? People are right?
We lost you there, Drew.
Can you hear me? Man.
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Yeah, I can't see anything happening here. Oh, they're gone. You're the host now.
Oh,
You're the captain now.
let me get out of this.